Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch. Every once in a while, we talk about something else crafty, but today it is all cross stitch. If you are new, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play and giving my channel a try. I hope you like what you see. Hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for keeping with me through my stitchy journey and helping me get through this crazy time right now as I try to sell a house and do all that other good stuff going on. So thank you. Thank you for being here. I am so surprised, but this is it's not the exact day, but we are on 2-year anniversary of floss tubing. I started in February, near the beginning of February in 2020. I had no idea what 2020 had in store for me and for all of us, and all I can say, it was a lifesaver. It gave me somebody to connect to and something to connect with in a time that was incredibly stressful and lonely and everything else, and I'm forever grateful that I pressed play that very first time, or record, I guess, and then the rest is history. I want to say it was somewhere around like February 8th or 9th or something or other, so we are 2 years in, and I am just so thrilled and excited to know so many of you and have gotten to be friends with so many of you, and I just want to keep doing it. So hopefully you'll keep watching. So that's that. That was my big news of the day. I'm tired. My mind is spinning in a million places as I try to navigate what's going on life-wise. So I will do my best to be as coherent as possible. Please hopefully give me some patience. If I forget things, I will usually remember to put them in the description box. But always feel free, if I've messed up or forgotten something, to reach out. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about anything I've talked about, or other stitchy questions, or any questions you'd have. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my best. And life right now, I'll talk about at the end, is just crazy. You know, it's just a continuation of everything. If you've been following what's going on personal-wise, it's just, you know, plugging along each week, and just 1 week means it's 1 week closer to everything being all wrapped up and finished. So we'll get there. This week, the way I'm going to show my patterns is a little bit differently. Usually I do my finish, if I have any, and then I would talk about, you know, my current projects, and then if I have any new starts, I would finish up with that. That's just always kind of been the formula. Many people do it that way. I am not new in that, and it's just what's worked for me. But I decided this week to just jump on in. You know, I don't generally do a lot of plan things or things that kind of are prompts or deciding things for me, but I figured, what the heck? And so I decided to try the hashtag Stitch the Winter Olympics. And so for every day, there's a prompt, and you try to stitch on something with that prompt. Now, this would be immensely easier if I was in Delaware, where the majority of all my extra projects are. When I came up to Connecticut, I knew I was only going to be here for, well, it'll probably be like 3 weeks when all is said and done, but I just brought up a finite number. I also had a couple that I was potentially thinking about starting if I wanted a new start in that time. So trying to fit things into prompts is a little bit more difficult here. So I skipped a day, one of the prompts this week, and then today's prompt I'm probably going to skip. And I might be able to figure out for the rest of the prompts what I'm doing, but it may be skipped here or there, just because I'm a little bit limited, but that's all right. You know, I'm doing my best, and it's been fun. I wouldn't want to do this every day of my stitching year, but for a, what is it, 20-day period, 2 weeks, 10, I don't even know how many ever days it is, for that short period of time, it's certainly, maybe it's 2 weeks, I don't know, whatever it is, for that period of time, it's just fun and something different, just not something I would do long term. And I am not the best at posting on Instagram. I'm doing my best, and I've posted several days. I didn't post yesterday's, and sometimes I just forget. So it just happens. I've never been the world's best Instagram poster anyway. I think you all have figured that out by now. But we try every once in a while. All right, so for day one of Stitching the Winter Olympics was a new start or a 2022 start. Ironically, it worked out really well that it actually is a finish, which is something I would start with anyway. I had started this in 2022, so I wanted to get it done. I wanted to get it done before Valentine's Day, and so I worked on it Friday after filming. And it was a small, so I knew it was something that if I wanted to get it finished, it was a good time to finish it. So this is called Sweetheart from Primrose Cottage Stitches, Primrose Cottage Stitch, one or the other. It is on 16 count Bliss from Fabrics by Stephanie. It is a beautiful pink. I really love it. And I'm actually debating. So I stitched last year, I stitched one of them on something completely different. I'm seeing if I can reach them if they're in here. They might be. Yes, they are. So last year I had stitched, and this was an 18 count. I thought that Bliss was an 18 count. It's accidentally a 16 count, but that's okay. I had stitched, I don't remember what this is, but I had stitched this one last year, and it's cute enough. You know, I mean, it's a more neutrally sort of color, which I do sometimes stitch on. This is proof. But you know, so the colors come out nice. And it's, you know, the traditional kind of 18 count size. Now this was a small guy. So when I did this one accidentally on the 16 count, I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. And I ended up doing this one, which I just finished on that too. So now I'm debating if I would like to do this one again on the Bliss or not. Not before this year, I guess. So that may make my decision, because I may just move on from things after that and say I'm done with those. But super cute. I actually would like some of this at 18 count now too. And I'd be curious to compare then, you know, what the 16 and 18 look like. But it's a beautiful color. The red really looks nice on it. And I think you could use it for a lot of different patterns. So this is by Fabrics by Stephanie, just a reminder, and really, really love it. So that was day one. I ended up doing the 2022 start versus a brand new start. But I did have on day two a new start. So you're gonna see that one out of order a little bit. So day two was to stitch something winter. I had nothing winter here. Well, that's not true. I did have like Christmassy. So if I hadn't started this, I think I probably would have done like the Christmas Eve Prairie Schooler, because I did have that here. Santa, it's winter when Santa flies. So that would have worked. But I was kind of in the mood for a new start. I had brought this pattern up, and when I compared it to fabric I showed you recently, I thought this was gonna look really good. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna do new start. And it is hands-on design, Winter Solstice. So that's what the two pieces look like. It's here stitched as two separate. I am stitching them as one complete piece, and I'm going to show that to you. Now, the day I started this, so it would have been Saturday, I was not going to be able to go to Michael's, and I didn't have the flosses for this already pulled, and my floss supply of DMCs is down in Delaware. So I went through what I had up here project-wise, and both of these contain, there's a border around them. And so I said, okay, well, what's the border number? I found that in one of my patterns, and that's what I did. So we don't have a huge start, but that's what it looks like. This is 18 count Lapis from To Die For Fabrics. And I think, you know, I mean, obviously it's dark at the moment, but once you put all those other colors in, I think it's really gonna look nice. So I am gonna stitch them so that this one will be on one side, and then this one will be on the other, so that the words will be on the outer parts. You'll have Solstice and Serenity, and then the houses actually, if you look at them, they kind of mirror, so they'll be mirroring each other that way as well. So that's the plan, and that's as far as it goes. So I just have to go down here, and the border will be completely finished. And what I did was, rather than doing two separate borders, I just figured out, you know, because I could have done a side-by-side border, but I wanted them a little closer. So I just figured out how it would work with the two of them. And that's That's what it looks like. And I have since gone to Michael's, and I did pick up the other colors, so I am all set. So I'm super excited to give this one another go and do some more. I really like this color blue. It's a really pretty one, and I would love to get some more stitching in on it to let that shine. So did I say hands-on design? I think I did, but that's the pattern. I had never seen this before. This was sent to me, and I adored it the second I saw it, and I said I had to stitch it. So I'm so thrilled. So that's that. All right. Day 3. So day 3 of the Olympics was to choose a pattern that had the Olympic ring colors. Doesn't have to be all of them. Well, I hope it wasn't. I doubt it would be all of them. Given my different colors, I didn't have anything that was like the specific bright Olympic ring colors. So I went with blue, yellow, and green, but the colors are more, they're the pastel versions of them. But I said, you know what? This is my version of Stitch the Winter Olympics, so I was gonna go with it. And I kind of wanted to stitch this as we're in the midst of winter and sort of getting a little bit more temperatures that are a little bit more moderate. I wanted to think spring a little bit. So I picked up, and let me show you on the iPad first. I want you to see, where is it? Here we go. I want you to see the full version. So, excuse me, Jen Hicks creates, it's called The Earth Laughs. And that's what it looks like. This one is stitched with Cosmo floss, and I'm stitching it on a smaller count. So I'm actually only stitching it with one thread, and that's what we have. And I did a lot more of the green. I did do the butterfly. Okay, that I figured if I did the green, I was covered, so then I could do other colors. I was really looking forward to getting some of the pinks. So those are the 2 shades of pink. And this will be a nice full flower here. So this is all the colors now that are part of the pattern. I had to do the pink. I was so looking forward to it. So that's what it looks like. This is a 20 count ice blue from To Die For fabrics. I wanted this pattern to be a smidgen smaller than what it would have been on 18 count. And so I went with 20 count. I don't know on To Die For if you were to just go in order, if 20 count is listed in her things. I reached out to her and I asked her, do you have 20 count? And she had said yes. And I ended up having her dye maybe 3 or 4 different colors in the 20 count, just to have a little bit in that supply. So that's what that looks like. And I really wanted, I did like the light blue version of this, but I just, this one is probably a little bit darker than what the version is on Etsy, but I think it's gonna look really pretty. I love it. And I did get a little bit more used to stitching. It was a little rough the first couple strands, stitching with the one strand. I keep forgetting, and trying not to have it fray and fall apart on me in the middle of stitching. But by the end of the day, when I had done some more, I had gotten the hang of it. So I have to keep this one fairly regularly so I remember what I'm doing. But that is Earth Laughs from Jen Hicks. And when I was looking up this pattern to show you, Jen Hicks is currently having a 15% off sale. And there's 1 or 2 patterns that jumped out at me right away looking at this the site when I was looking for this one. I haven't bought them yet because it was just this morning, but I may be going back. I may be going back to her website and picking up a pattern or 2 while the sale's going on, right? So that's that one. Okay. Day 4. Day 4 was to stitch something with an animal, and I could have done Lady Halloween, but I wasn't sure if I was keeping that for something else because there's a cat on there. So, I looked through, and I had brought this pattern up, and I said, I haven't stitched on this one in a while, so let's do this one. So Plum Street Samplers, Summer in Nantucket is what I chose. And this is my pattern that I'm doing it in 2 different fabrics. I originally wanted, the first one I picked out, the blue that you're gonna see, I picked it out because I was going off of the picture to a certain degree. I didn't really want gray. I wanted some sort of blue, kind of ocean outside, that kind of thing. That was my whole thinking. And then I'll talk about why I went with the second one as well. So the first one was an 18 count, I have to look to see, Summer Storm from To Die For Fabrics. To Die For Fabrics has loads and loads of blues. So if there's a shade of blue you are looking for and you can't seem to find the right shade anywhere else, I would really suggest you try her site. I will link, it's linked down below in my favorite fabric dyers section if you just scroll down a bit. As you can see, I had the Lapis blue, I had the ice blue. This is Summer Storm, and there's another blue I think I'm going to show you later on. All different shades, and that's just the tip of an iceberg. With, you probably would, iceberg, ocean blue. My brain went kind of, I don't know if that would have been totally obvious. But anyway, all to say, if you really want a specific shade of blue, check her site because she really does have so many, depending on what you're looking for. So this was the first one. Now, the one thing that was difficult was, and it's tough to see, in person you can see it better. It's one of those things that on the camera you can't see as much. This area here, I guess kind of like clouds or whatever, that, you can't really see it very well here either. That is ecru, actually. And doesn't exactly pop on here, but it's fine because the other colors really do look nice on the blue. So I was, a month after I had started this, I had in my mind, I don't know if I was stitching on it, and I said, I could really see it on this kind of shade too. And so I pulled out some Gilded 18 count from Mystic Fabrics, and I just stitched it again. So what I am doing for you, anybody who's new, I take a strand of whatever I'm stitching, I put it on one, and then I do it on the other. So these are exactly in the same spot. I did it for this week for the animal. I stitched the couple fish, and then this is the whale's tail. And I think I did, like there was a sun up here or whatever, this little symbol up here. There's a few little things that I did as well. Oh, and I had to finish all the water because I was only about here. So on both of them, I had to finish all the way through. Now, the one thing I did change on the original, the whale below is an ecru. And yeah, you can see it here, but it's and I knew I wasn't going to be able to see it on the blue. I would have been able to see it okay here. So instead of using the ecru, I took, see the little blue whale up here? I took that same color, and that's going to be the whale down here. And I think it's going to really pop nicely. I think it'll be fine with the little kind of mermaid colors that are on the whale, and so on and so forth. So that is the only change in color that you will see on these. Otherwise, these are exactly the same, just 2 different shades. And so you've got one that's more like that summer bright, and then you've got more of the winter cool. And that's what it looks like. I always enjoy stitching this, and I know somebody had said that, you know, it's amazing to do it twice, that they wouldn't have the patience. And believe me, if this was any bigger a pattern, I don't think I would either. This would clearly have been finished a long time ago if I was only stitching it once. It actually goes fairly quick, and I'm pleased with where I am, even though I'm stitching it twice. So if you were curious on it, I would say pick a small pattern, and because these are almost 2 different complete looks, it's kind of really interesting to me. So I don't find myself really getting bored with doing it twice. And you're doing like little snippets. It's not like you're doing the whole pattern and then doing the whole pattern again. So maybe that's part of it too. I don't know. Excuse me. Swallowing and breathing at the same time really does not work. Wow. Okay, day 5. Day 5 was to stitch something round, and I stretched it a little bit, but I pulled out from Plum Street Samplers Betsy's Autumn. And you see these little pumpkins down here? They're round. So we went with it, and that's the one I went with. And here's Betsy. Oh, she's coming along so nicely. This is an 18 count Honey Amber, I should know it by now, by Fabrics by Stephanie. Up close, that's where we are. So I did, let me fold it this way, because except for a couple of stems of pumpkins, I really didn't do anything on that side. I focused on getting a lot of the exteriors or the interior veins of the leaves done. I still have 2 more to do. I haven't gotten those done yet, but I'm getting there. And then I came down here, I did all of the flag, I did some more of this, and then come over here. I did discover as I was doing this, I did stitch the house slightly wrong. The house is actually supposed to be 2 stitches less. So Betsy's dress, if you look here, Betsy's dress is pretty close to the house. Betsy's dress, luckily, will have 1 box between. It won't hit. I was a little worried that it might hit it, and then did I have to move Betsy over one, and so on and so forth. But it's gonna be fine. I'll just keep her the way she is, and she'll just be, because she comes through a little bit right here, and it'll end right next to the house. The only thing I have changed with this pattern is I did not do 2, so this is charted in, it's in variegated flosses. And the pumpkins were 2 different shades. One of them is the DMC that I used, and then the other one, the DMC, was brownish, and I didn't really want that. So I kept them all just the one color. I thought it was pretty. So that is how I kept there. Everything else is the same. Nothing else has changed. Even the flag itself, what would be considered red is more of a brownish, kind of burnt orangish brown, but from a distance it goes with the vibe of this piece and the colors, so I was okay with it rather than trying to completely change it up. So maybe two more stitching sessions. I consider like a day that I've given to a piece as a stitching session, as opposed to like sitting for an hour. No, it takes me much longer than that. But if I have 2 good days that I have time here or there to stitch, I might have this finished, finally. This one has been around for quite some time, so I'm super excited to get this one done. And then I'd really like to pick up Cinnamon Stars again, which is partially started. There is a stitch along with that. I can't remember what it's called. And that way I can kind of jump in. I don't remember what it's called, but I can jump in with others, and that might give me the little push, because the house with all the stones on either side, I stalled. I kind of lost momentum with it, and so my goal was to get this one finished. I felt like if I kept switching between the 2, neither one would ever get finished. And so the first goal was to finish this, and then I want to try to bang out that house, and then the rest of it should go a little bit easier, and I'll feel a little bit better about it. So that's the goal, at least. Hopefully, we're getting there. We're getting there. This one definitely will be done, though, by a season. How I'm finishing those, though, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. Day 6 was, I have it sideways here. Oh, a multi-part piece or a part of a series. I had nothing like that here in Connecticut. There was one that I would have had as a start, but I didn't have what I needed for it to start it. So that didn't happen. So I just threw out the Olympics. I threw out day 6, and I went with my own thing, and I pulled out my Lady Halloween Jardin Prive. That's what it looks like. And I stitched on her. I didn't get as much done as I was hoping. I was so excited about the frog last week that I was like, oh, I can get a lot done this week on her. So my first and main goal was to finish her dress, and I did not quite do it. So as a whole, that's what it looks like from a distance. I love this one. And then if we come up close, well, we come up really close for the frog. I love that frog. And then this might have been, probably not. It would have been really, really close, but there was another piece here. I stitched it too far over. I wasn't paying attention. I think I was just trying to get the dress finished, and I lost sight of really paying attention to what I was counting. So there's another kind of piece right here, and I had stitched it too far over, so it was gonna bang into this. So there was the stitching time and then the pulling out of all the thread time. So I have that still to do. There's this piece here, it comes up. I have all that to do. And then I think there's a few little elements of the lighter color that are sprinkled throughout that I still have to do. So she's very close, and her dress will be finished. That'll be the first thing I focus on next time I pull it out. So then she will be a finish. I even filled in over here. No, it was this one I needed to fill in. So I've even got that filled in, and I can kind of call her done and then continue to working on some of the other elements. And once I get back to Delaware, I will really look at what I want to do with the bubbles, and I will match that. There's potion bottles here, and whatever goes in the potion colors, I'll match with the bubbles. But I do want something sparkly or something different for that. So that's where we are. Almost got her dress done. But then when I discovered my mistake and I pulled it out, I was kind of done. I said, I'm done stitching for the day. So that's all. That's all she got. So there's Lady Halloween though. There is a stitch along. It's hashtag ladyhalloweensal if you'd like to see what people are stitching and how they're stitching with it. In the description box below, I do list some people that I know of that are either on YouTube or Instagram that are stitching it, if you want to check them out, like their videos or their Instagram feed. And then the hashtag on Instagram, you could just see from there as well. So that's it. Okay, one more day, day 7. So day 7 was something nature. And originally I was gonna do this one for something round, but then I decided to do it something nature. I mean, you could make any of them work. I mean, like Betsy could have been nature because it was outside with the, but whatever. But I ended up, let me do my iPad one more time. I said, what's not nature but the Northern Lights, right? So 2x2 StitchArt is the designer, and it's called Northern Lights. And they're still currently having their 50% off sale. That'll be linked below. So pretty, really, really pretty. Long story, involves Connor, stitching and all that. But the long and the short of it is, I did start this one, and this is where I am. This is a plain old 18 count white Aida. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to mention 18 count Smoky Amethyst from To Die For Fabrics, for anybody who's new. Just your plain old white Aida. I have noticed that it has definitely, now this was a pretty stiff Aida when I started it, because it wasn't even the Kato, which is a little bit looser. It was just your regular old, but because I have been working with it and working it, it has definitely loosened up a little bit, and not quite as tight as it normally would be. And that's where we are. It's slow going because the colors and the shades are very similar. I think once it's done though, it's really going to be so nice because some of the color changes are so subtle, and then others, you know, are much more stark. But I really, really enjoy stitching this one. If you'll see, I'm starting down here. This is going to be all black, and there's going to be a whole bunch of navy-ish. I'm getting to, on the sides, these areas here, which are definitely going to be big chunks of color. But I'm very erratic with it. So I said, oh, let's do this and we'll work our way down. I was curious how far down this was going to go. And then I was kind of doing some of this, and I said, oh, well, let's come up here, and then, oh, let's come down here. So if I stuck with one section, I'd probably have a better portion of a section done, but I just keep jumping around. So it doesn't look like I maybe necessarily did much, but I did much more than maybe is showing. But enjoying it, and I'm super excited to see how this one looks done up. And that's it. That's my stitching. And that's my 7 days of Stitch the Winter Olympics. Day 8 is today, and it's supposed to be something from a pair of designers. I have nothing up here that would count as that, so I'm gonna do something different today, and just do my own thing, pretty much. Go through what I have, and maybe something that you haven't seen this week. I think I might pull out something else. I have an idea in my head, but I wanna see. So you'll have to stay tuned next week for it. Anyway, that's that. Now, the one thing I do have with plans, besides continuing with the Olympics, this month in February, Carla from Carla Being Crafty has her hashtag Be My Own Valentine Sal, S-A-L. And basically is stitch something with a bee on it. And I don't have a ton, actually, but I have this one. I thought it was always so pretty, and I thought, oh, this would be fun. So it's Tudor Bee from the Blue Flower. And again, I wasn't necessarily going to do it on that fabric. I pulled out yet another blue. This was in my current order. Lapis and this Blue Moon from To Die For Fabrics were both in my most current order. I think everything was blue in that order last time I showed you. So that's the color. It's not the lightest of blue, but it's a light blue. And I thought those colors might look so pretty on it. There is white, I don't know if it's, so it's charted in NPS. Is that, I don't know, are those silks? I don't know. Yeah, yes, NPS silks. But she gives a DMC alternative. You know, if I'm not doing overdyed floss, I'm not doing silk. So I'm doing DMC. And the white 3865, it might be an issue here, but I looked at it, and every place that it is in the pattern, it is surrounded by something. So I think it'll be fine. That was the only color I would not 100% sure would show up here. Everything else, there's one light pink, but it's not in very many places. Everything else should look really nice. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna start this for Carla's stitch along, and I think I'm gonna use this fabric. If you have any huge objections that you think it would look horrible, please let me know. But otherwise, I think, and I'll look at it from your perspective and see what I think. But otherwise, that may be a start this week. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what my plans are. I don't know what the prompts are for the upcoming week. I'll have to look at that as well and see if maybe I can fit it in, or if there's a prompt I can't do, then maybe I slap this in instead. So that's my only plan, as well as trying to see if I can add some more into the prompts and do another week's worth of that. So that's that. Okay, shopping. I have a little bit to show you. Satsuma Street, she was having a sale. It was like 15% off. I don't really remember. And I had put this in my favorites. I was watching Joy-Filled Stitcher, Annie. Gosh, I don't know how long ago it was now. Maybe a month or so. I don't remember. But she had stitched this, it's just called Tree Topper, right? That one, that guy right there. With the beads and the sequins and all that good stuff. And I loved it. And so I had gone to Satsuma and I favorited it on Etsy. And then when she said she was having a sale, I said, oh, well, sorry for the glare, but I'm not taking all this out of the bag. I said, oh, let's get it. I really have to start. I really would like to start, because I'd like to give these a try. Now I've been buying them. I have to start them at some point. So I had picked that one up, and I said, oh, there's a couple other cute ones, so I'm not gonna have it be the only one. I picked up this guy, which is called Snow Buddy. I thought he was super cute. And then I went for a different holiday, and I picked up this one called Wise Guy. I thought he was really, really cute. He was my favorite of all the recent Halloween ones that had come out. So I picked him up. So I picked up those 3. And then I have some fabric of the month that came in. So if you don't want to see, I'll tell you when to look away. The first batch of fabric of the month was from Fortnite Fabrics. And this is, well, what are we in? We're in February, so it must be January. So these were the January. I loved, so I did last year the subtle sampler. And, you know, they do, they have a different whole set of ones this year. So it's totally different this year. I really enjoyed that. And so I said, I'm actually going to do, I couldn't decide between these 2. And I love the fact that you can get tiny pieces in some cases. So it's a little bit more affordable. So I ended up doing 2. I am doing their, I don't even know. I think one is called Gradients. They don't say it here on there. Do they? No, they don't. One is Gradients. And then one was the, I think it's their Opal line for the year type of thing. I think one of them you're going to see is Opal, so I'm assuming maybe the others will be as well. Not 100% sure on that. But anyway, this gradient one is called Car Wash, and it's really cool blue. And I always like to say this, I like to give this disclaimer. It is not that stark in person. It is a really, really pretty light blue. And yes, you can see the white, like there's a big section here, white, but it is not that stark a contrast. So in thinking about what to stitch on this, you wouldn't have to worry about, ooh, that's really dark, and ooh, that's really light, and is it gonna work with my pattern? It's much more subtle than that. But it's a really kind of pretty shade of blue. So I picked that up. And then the Opal, I went with the small on this. This is called Nebula. And it's a basic purple base. You've got definitely like the deeper mauves as well as the brighter purples, and then some light colors. And again, not as stark, definitely much more subtle. Really, really pretty. I haven't done a lot of Opal stitching yet, but I really want to find some patterns that would really look good on this, or Opal in general, and start using some of the Opals, because I always really think it looks so pretty. So those are the 2 from Fortnite Fabrics. And then I did get my fabric of the month from Under the Sea. I had to look at the tag, kind of forgot. So look away for a minute. This one is called Eudore. I'm not exactly sure. E-U-D-O-R-E. As always with all these, it's an 18 count Aida that I get. So don't look if you don't want to see. And this one is very cool actually. And depending on which section of it, depends on what you'd stitch. So we have really bright over here and much more subtle over here. So it could be used, you know, if you were to do like one of those big kind of pieces, you could use all of it and take advantage of it. Or depending, you know, I could pick this area for something that would look great, and then you come down here and it would be something totally different. So I have no idea. Would it be something I would normally have chosen? No, and that's the whole appeal sometimes to fabric of the month, that it exposes me to new ones that I wouldn't necessarily, because you know I would just pick all blues all the time if it was left up to me. So this gets me a little bit out of my color comfort zone. All right, so let me fold that up so that you can look back if you were doing so. Okay, is it Under the Sea Fabrics? I want to say she just announced that she's going to have an actual storefront. Maybe? I think it was. I can't remember 100%, but I'm pretty sure it was Under the Sea Fabrics. And then, before I forget, I've been looking at these digital patterns, and I finally just said I'm going to get them. I went to Owl Forest, and I picked up, okay, so this one's called Black Vintage Sampler. I had seen this being stitched, and every time I looked either on Instagram or Facebook when it would pop up, I'm like, I love this. So I picked it up. I finally did. I love all the little elements. So I think it's gonna be so much fun to stitch because every time you do one of these pieces, that house is a big element, but every time you do one of these pieces, it's like a little tiny finish. So I love that. And then this other one, you've seen everybody stitching it, but every time I saw it, I just thought it was so pretty. And I picked up the smaller version. It's the cardinal one. So there's the larger version and the smaller version. I picked up the smaller of the two. And I just got the PDFs. I will just use DMC and go for it from there most likely. So that's it. I did maybe sort of possibly pick up a Heaven and Earth 1 or 2 because they were having the 50% off sale. But maybe I'll show you those another time because this video is going to be rambling enough as it is. So that's it. That's my shopping. I have a little bit of giveaway stuff to do. All of my current giveaways that were outstanding are all gone. So everything has been sent out except the Australia. I did look and the United States Postal Office service is still saying not shipping. It's got to be soon though. I got to think it's going to be soon. I did look, somebody had asked, I think it was on the Mystic Fabric site, you know, because she has people that order from all over, and somebody had asked, and she said she could ship it UPS, not United States Postal Service, but it was wildly expensive, over $40 in some cases, and I love you guys, but that's a lot for shipping for giveaways. I don't mind shipping worldwide and doing it through USPS because I want to include everybody. I'd like to be inclusive, but that just gets a little bit too pricey for me. So I know at some point the post office is going to open it up. I mean, we've got to be close. So that one that I'm holding, I promise, as soon as I hear, and I will keep checking, it will be off to you. But otherwise, yeah, just a little bit too much for me to go UPS. Okay, so this week's giveaway, so cute. We have Henry from All Through the Night. Thank you so much for everybody who put in a comment. And let me mix around the names in the bowl. Infamous bowl, right? This is the Connecticut bowl. I don't know what I'm doing with these when I move. I don't really need them down in Delaware. More Goodwill, maybe? I don't know. Okay, so let me grab one of the names. Every time I'm writing the names, this stuff sticks. So, Laura Davis. Okay, I was answering some comments this morning. Laura, is it you that says you have a grandson named Henry? I can't remember. How fun is that if I'm remembering that correctly? You won. So if you could send me your address, I will send this off to you. So fun. I'm gonna put Henry and your name right in the plastic after we're done. Okay, this week's giveaway, I had found these as I'm packing everything up. I had found some charts that I had already stitched. And there's nothing like moving to remind you that you can only keep so much in life. And up to now, I've pretty much kept all the patterns I had stitched. I hadn't really gotten rid of them. And I realized that if I'm not going to stitch something ever again, then let's bring it and send it to a new home. If it's part of a pattern or set, I think I'll keep them all together and then send them to a new home if need be. But I know I'm not going to stitch this again. I stitched this one 2 years ago, or even maybe a little bit more. It's probably shown in one of my first videos as a finish. Maybe not the first, but like the first couple months. So it is a past the stash, but it is in very good condition and it looks pretty new. I have not written on it, nothing like that. And it's even actually surprisingly not really bent. So I am giving away this week from Plum Street Samplers. I'm going to turn it this way. It's called the Country Winter. And that's what it looks like. Now, the only thing I couldn't do, you see this little, it's like a little quilt that the snowman is holding. That is stitched over one. I just didn't stitch it because I did this obviously on my Aida and I decided it just wasn't worth it. And honestly, he looks really cute. I kind of maybe changed his fingers. I don't even know if I had to change his fingers at all. but it's done without it. So if you do stitch on something that's more Aida-ish and you don't want to stitch the over one, I can guarantee you it looks cute without. And if you do the others, you'll be fine. So this is probably an old, is it an older pattern? So a 2019, so not super old, but some of you may have already stitched it or seen it. But I thought, you know, it'd be fun. So this is a Pass the Stash giveaway this time around. And let's see what word. We'll say country. How about that? Because it's a country winter. So country is the word that I would ask for you to put in your comments. And I will give that away next video. And that's about it. Okay, so that's this week's giveaway. I will put that over and everything like that, so it's all nice and safe. So that's it. That is my stitching for the week and all of the business. So if you don't want to stay for the personal, then have a great week, and I will see you next week. Personal, it's not a lot to talk about. Thank you so much to everybody for all the well wishes for Shamrock. He gets kind of this eye gel, 2 different types, 2 times a day, and he's amazingly tolerant of it. And it looks like that he probably will have to get them for the rest of his life. So I joked with Mo, I said, I'm stuck with you for every day then, because we need the 2 of us to actually do it, because I hold him and then, you know, Mo puts the stuff in. So if I need a break from Mo, then Shamrock's just not going to get his eye stuff on a given day. But anyway, thank you for the well wishes. And thank you so much for all the well wishes with the house. We had the house inspection on Saturday, this past Saturday, and it went well. Nothing major came out of it, and they had until midnight last night to come back with anything major, and we didn't hear, so that's super exciting. Yeah, and you know, and even all the tests, because obviously you test for all the different things, whether it's the radon and the asbestos and the mold and the termite. We didn't hear anything about that. I assume we would have, so that means that's great. None of that stuff's here. We had asked, there's a few things, like we have a foosball table in the basement. It's very heavy. It's not coming to Delaware. I had no idea what to do. So things like that and the patio furniture, we had asked them, would they be interested? And in some cases, some of the stuff, you know, they have a little bit, but some of the stuff that we had asked, they said, sure, because, you know, there's furniture delays, plus they have a lot of kids, so the foosball table should be fun. So we are actually able, in some cases, to leave a little bit of the furniture. It won't have to be completely 100% cleared out, which is great, because we would have to figure out. We do have somebody, I think, that we were going to try to donate some of it to, because not, you know, it's not really. We only need a little bit for where we're renting, because it's a much smaller, you know, just kind of a landing pad kind of place when we need to be here in Connecticut. And then we don't need for Delaware. So, and trying to do a multi-state move, we really weren't jazzed about that idea anyway. So it's great that some of the items, we don't have to even worry about how we are going to get rid of them. They're just going to stay right here. But last night, normally I have no trouble falling asleep. I have trouble staying asleep usually, but not falling asleep. But my brain was kind of going through everything in the house. What is going to Delaware? What's staying? What's going to the small rental? What are we getting rid of? Oh, it just went around in my head. So my sleep this week, because, you know, I keep thinking about things, a little bit less restful than normal. But I tell myself that we're looking at another month before closing, and then it'll all be taken care of. But yeah, so basically we are in heavy packing mode. We made a Goodwill run yesterday on some, you know, just a lot of the different smaller stuff that we're just not going anywhere with it. So we just keep doing that. And we have our pile of Goodwill, we have our pile going to Delaware, and now I've got to pack all the nitty gritty. You know, I did all that big external stuff, but now we really have to get to all the other stuff. So I'm hoping next week to go to Delaware. I don't know what day. I don't know if I'd be going on Friday or Saturday or how it's going to work. So I'm not sure where I'm taping or what day I'm taping, that's a little bit up in the air. So it'll be a surprise next week. Even if I'm taping here in Connecticut, I don't know if I'll have any furniture. I might be setting up a ladder to prop my phone on, because I don't even have the tripod-y thing here. I left that in Delaware, and I just have the phone propped on things. But I think what I have propped on will be packed away. So I don't know. It should be interesting. Luckily, I'm covering the big mess of stuff over here. You can see my pile of cardstock that's coming to Delaware with me. And then we have extra ink pads and stamps and stuff over that way. But anyway, as long as I stood in front of it, you really couldn't see the mess too much. So yeah, so things are, we've got lists of, okay, who do we have to change addresses with, and what do we have to change, and this and that. So we're on all that minutia right now. So my brain is tired. I love doing the stitching part, because then I can kind of zone out and just not have to worry about things for a short while. So that's keeping me sane. So I plan on doing some next week. Otherwise, I might just completely explode my brain altogether. We did finish watching Vigil last week. We had 2 episodes left on Saturday. We watched episode 5 and we couldn't stop. We're like, we have to watch 6 tonight. We absolutely have to. Excellent show. We loved it a lot. And it's rare that, because we watch some of the same stuff and then we watch some totally different stuff. So for us to both have a show that we really like is a lot of fun. So yeah, just if you want to be completely sucked into something, we were able to find it on, where did I say I found it? Was it? It was Peacock. It was Peacock. But then all of my friends that live overseas with the BBC, I think you all have seen it way before me, and I don't know where it aired and so on and so forth. But if you find it and you like kind of like murderish thriller things, it was intense. So anyway, that's that. We're not doing a heck of a lot for Valentine's. I think there's a vegan restaurant in town here, which I love, but we don't usually eat out. Even in the best of times, we don't eat out because I just cook, you know. And most restaurants, to try to ask them to change it to make it vegan, it's like I could just cook at home. So we are going to do takeout. We're gonna tonight, I think, because we figure as the weekend goes on, they'll be busier and so on and so forth. So why not just enjoy it on a Friday night? So I think that's what we're gonna do. Super excited to get the takeout, because like I said, I cook most nights, and so it'll be nice to have a break and a night off from that. And then we'll be packing, and there's a trip to IKEA, because there's a few things I think we wanna get, including I want Mo to build me a table for the craft room. And of course, there's all sorts of IKEA hacks for like craft tables and stuff. And if it works, I will link it all below. There's a couple different videos and ways that people have done it. I think I figured out, so we just have to, fingers crossed, that our IKEA has that stuff in stock and we can pick it up, and then I can put Mo to work when we get to Delaware. So I think there's that. There's Aston Villa this weekend, so of course that has to be carved out of our weekend so he can watch that. And yeah, just a little bit of this, that, and just packing and moving craziness. So that's it. I hope you have a nice weekend, whatever you are doing, stitching or going out and about or whatever, depending on what it's like. It's a little bit warmer here than it has been. I'm not sure this weekend. I think it might get a little colder again, but I don't think stormy or anything, so that's good. And yeah, just, you know, have a great weekend, have a great week. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're safe. Hope all is well. And that you get lots of stitching in, however and whenever you're doing it. Feel free to drop me a line if you have questions or comments or anything like that, as always. And you know how I always say, until next time, happy stitching.